Alright, hello class, I'm Josiel, and then I'm here to show y'all more information about particles. So, I'm currently in Unity, and then first, to make a particle, we want to right click on the hierarchy, and then hover over effects, and click on particle systems. And this is where the particle starts. So, basically, this is how you're controlling it. Basically, it's split up into like all these different categories, and then I'm gonna focus on this one for now. So, duration, which is basically how long the particle system is emitted for, but it does not control like how long the effects last. It just controls like how many particles are being emitted. And if I get rid of looping, and then let's say I want it to emit for 10 seconds. I press play, and it goes for 10 seconds, as you can see right here. Keeps going, goes, and then boom, it stops after 10 seconds. All right. That's what basically it does. And looping, just continuously loops through the particle effects. And then start lifetime, that basically controls how long the effects last. So then look, if I last for like have it emit for 2 seconds, and then the lifetime, I want it to last for, let's say, 3 seconds. As you can tell, look, as it's going, loops for 2 seconds, and then the effect lasts for 3 seconds. That's about it. And then start delay, it basically delays like when I want it to start. So if I press 1, it's gonna wait for 1 second. Look, it waits for 1 second, then it starts emitting. That's what basically it does. And then start speed basically controls if you want the particles to move inwards or outwards. So basically, if it's at 0, the particles are just gonna stay there. That's about it. They're just gonna stay there. And if you want it to move outwards, you just need a positive value greater than 0. And then, as you can tell, hold up. Yep, it's moving outwards. And if you want it to move inwards, just give it a negative value. Yeah, right there. Let's restart it. Play. Yeah, it's moving inwards. That's about it. And then, let's get back. Boom, have it looping. Yep. Okay. Boom. Now, basically, gravity. If you want to give the effects gravity, or like you want to simulate something falling, this is what we basically do. Just put a value of it. It's simulating gravity on here. That's about it for now. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to look at what emissions does. So basically, emissions allows us to select how many particles are being emitted per second. So look, right now it's 10 particles per second. We can adjust it. Now it's 100 particles per second. And then look, 1. Basically allows us to do that. So we can set it at 10. And then burst kind of allows us to like create like mini bursts, I guess. So look, for 1 second, let's make it spit out 300. Look, like every other second it spits out. It has a burst of 1 second, and it spits out 300 particles. So that's what basically burst does. But yeah, that's everything for emissions. Then shape, it basically gives us the ability to pick how the particles are gonna be emitted. So right now it's a cone shape, and we can adjust it to be a hemisphere, and it can also be a sphere, and then we can adjust it. Basically, can adjust the shape of based how we adjust it determines how the particles are gonna be affected. And look, I can play around like a donut. Rotating the donut. Can scale it. All that jazz. Now we're gonna go back to our cone. Alright, so yeah, that's basically everything for shape. Now we're gonna look at velocity. So basically, velocity over a lifetime, it like basically determines on how fast the particles emit, and then how it slows down. You see how it starts up fast and then it slowly slows down? That's what velocity over a lifetime does. You see? Yeah, depending on how we want it, so it occurs. And we can determine the range it has, all that. And then yeah, we can have it do all this jazz depending on how we input it. Let me go back. Alright. And then dampen basically also helps us achieve what we want. Just like this. Then inherent velocity. It basically allows us, let's see if I can get it to work. Alright, currently it's not working, but basically as I'm dragging it, the particles will also follow like where it's being dragged. So that's what it basically does. Let me uncheck these. Then lifetime by emitter speed, it basically determines how long the effect that we're going for is gonna last. Yeah, that's about it. And now we're gonna focus about color. Color is as it sounds. We're able to change the color of the particles. So let me just pick a color. Let's put red. And you see the color right now. The particles are red. And then if you want like a effect towards the end, let's say we want a green. This is what's gonna happen. See, let's have that. Oh. Yep. Like as you can see, as the particles are being emitted, it slowly fades, starts as red, then fades to green, just like what we have here. And then color by speed, it basically just controls how fast this transition is gonna happen. So yeah, that's what we have so far. Alright, and now we're gonna focus on size over limit. This basically just determines the size of the particle and then the size of it when it ends. So right now it starts big, then as it's ending it goes small. And then let's just view this. Look, right now it's starting small, then it ends big. Then now we can just change it where it starts big and it ends small, just like that. Just like that. Pretty cool. Then now speed, basically it just determines the size based on the speed. So let's just change that real quick. See this? Yeah. I don't know if y'all can see that change. But yeah, look. It becomes smaller, quicker, depending on the speed. Basically, rotation over lifetime and rotation by speed basically just determines the rotation of each particle. It controls whether the particle like spins around or rotates, depending, and then you can just adjust it by the angular velocity of how fast it's gonna rotate or how slow it's gonna rotate. And that basically just determines basically the same thing what we did above it. Then external forces, it basically just determines whether it just allows you to control like the wind zone or like external things that are affect the particles, but it's not that important right now. Then noise basically gives some like randomization for each of the particles, so we'll try to play around with it. You see how look it's randomly, look, affect each particle is randomly getting affected. And we're able to determine the strength of how strong this randomization is, things like that. Then now let's close all these. now we're gonna focus on collision. Collision is basically if there was an object here, when the particle would hit it, it would just bounce back, and that's you're able to control like how bad it bounces back, all that stuff. Collision, and then trigger. Let me see. Where's trigger? Trigger is basically allows you to execute a strip code that if to determine like how the particles will react if it's in an object. And then sub emitters basically allows you to basically gives you the ability of these particles to emit other particles. Let's say if you mix it up with collision, if it hits an object, as it hits it, when it bounces back, it also creates more particles, things like that. And texture, not that important. Lights basically determines. Let's see if we're able to. Basically allows like if the scene was dark, it will basically be emitting lights. That's what lights basically does. And then trails basically just allows all the trails to, or allows the particles to have trails. As you can see, each of the particles has trails following it as it's being emitted. Yeah, that's about it for now. Alright, and then now I'm going to show you an example of what you can do with these particles. So I'm going to try to create like a character like running, like that kind of trail, like that effect. So let's make a particle. Okay. Just put everything in 0. Let's put the y -90. There it is. 90. Correct the check the render. 7 max particle size of 3. Start lifetime. Let's put 03. Start speed 10. 10. Start size 0.1. Let's just have it emit for 200. Boom. Then shape. We got cone. With the angle to be 20. And the radius to be 0.3. Yeah, that's good. Check this. I want our radius to be 20. That's good. That's good. Let's pick our colors. Yeah. Check it first. perfect. Boom. Then size over. Yeah, perfect. Then click on trails. Right now it looks ugly, but I'm gonna fix it. Trail materials. We want that as a default particle. Boom. And then we want rendering to none. And boom. So it kind of gives the effect as it's playing. Yeah, so this is how you get the effect. Thank you.